Yep, yes, good people. Today with me, I got Chief Ndiweni. The man himself is here, and I'm sure you guys are wondering. Yeah, for those that have been asking me, really, I was like, yeah, he's here, and it's like, how did you pull that off? Like, yeah, he's here. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Mtunzi, hello. How you doing, man?
I'm good. People have been wondering how. I was like, yeah, I got him on my contacts, and I've managed to reach out to him and say, could you please? And he said, yeah, it's him.
No, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So you're going deep into your diary book, yes.
Yeah, of course, it's going deep. It's going deep, yeah. I'm seeing you wearing all culture, and I bought myself. I had to make sure the dress code had to be right as well.
Yeah, we had to sync up, when to link up. We can't be all offside.
Yeah. Otherwise, how you doing?
No, we're doing great. Well, no problem at all.
Yes.
But of late, rather tired because I've been traveling a heck of a lot. So I've got a whole lot of jet lag upon me. But I think the remainder of the week, I'll probably wash it through. And
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
on my part, I've been celebrating the whole release of the Wakanda Black Panther. So I think my dress code, I'm doing it right.
Yes, you are.
I'm doing it right. Yeah. Yeah. But my
Yes,
question
yes.
to you is, what's the Africa that we want?
The Africa that we want, really, I think we are all very close to that wish, Tunes. And especially, I would say, even the good folks, the good people, wherever you are in the world,
Yes.
you have a sense, you have a feeling of the kind of Africa that we want. Let me start by giving my answer in this way.
Yes.
Today in the United Kingdom, we've got Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. A man, a gentleman with a heritage from Asia, right to the pinnacle of this nation that is at the apex of the Commonwealth.
Yes.
For us as a Zimbabwean, we are looking, and me particularly, I'm looking at unleashing the potential of the youth.
Yes.
This is the time whereby the African continent has to unleash its youth, because its youth has been well equipped to take the nation forward, to take the African continent forward. Those older generations who are there, who are grappling with colonization and all those things, their time has passed. And I'm not saying that in a nasty way. I'm saying it in a good way, to say, Badala, give grace, give due diligence to the younger generation. You are not equipped for this time. Our youth are equipped for this time. The world is accelerating. There's so much happening on the international arena. We would like the continent, the African continent, to be able to stand toe to toe with anyone who comes from any part of the world. Logically, to me, it says it is only the youth that can do that. There's no argument about that. And so we would like really a fully liberated Zimbabwe, fully liberated continent, whereby this issue of having presidents in office until they pass away, and old members of parliament, and all this nonsense has to go. We need a vibrant, for me, I don't care where you come from. I just want you to be able to do your job. I want you to cut it at the cutting edge. So that if I'm talking IT, I don't want a second-rate IT with globes and androids and going back to the 1952. No, I want broadband. I want the highest rate broadband. I want everything zinging on live. I want Zim to have 1,000 radio and TV stations. I want all of that. The only people who can do that are the youth.
That's true. That's the thing that we want. but then now the confusion in the youths is because what's happening is the youth think that people in position of power, whatever age that is, are not ready to let go because they feel like sovereignty will be lost, and what they was put in place by them will not be understood by that of now.
No, I hear you. I hear where you're coming from. But for me, what I'll be saying to the youth is that to the youth, to the young gentleman, I'll be saying man up. To the young woman, I'll be saying woman up. Why am I using such terms? I'm using those terms because the youth of yesterday manned up and womaned up.
Yes.
They were aged 19 to 20 to 21, 1968, 67. They took action, went to the bush, picked up the AK-47, did what they had to do, and brought us Zim today, currently. It is now the turn of this generation of youth to do what they have to do. Fair enough, the AK-47 is no longer there. Times have moved on. But you've got IT. You've got this whole social media arena where I strongly feel the youth are not manning up. The youth are not womaning up. They're not coming to the forefront of taking this thing. What is 100% is that it will not be given to you on a silver plate. That doesn't happen.
Yes,
it does not happen. In
Yes.
order to get what you want, you've got to man up, you've got to woman up, you've got to take the challenge. You've got to go into that ring and mark out your territory to say, it is our time. It is our generation. Leave aside this conversation of, yes, we got the liberation and this and that and this and that. We thank you. My answer to them is we thank you for all of that. But if you will not listen to the youth of this generation when they're saying politely to you, step aside, then I'll be saying to the youth, man up, woman up, come to the forefront. This is your time, because no one on earth will give this to you on a silver plate.
Yes, this I understand, and I totally understand with you. However, think of it this way: the IT can only hack information and get information, but the gun can kill a person.
I can hear you. The gun can kill a person. Let me bring it to you this way around. Conservative estimates reckon that probably the population of Zimbabwean diaspora in its totality is running at about 6 to 7 to 8 million. That's a lot of people outside in the international arena. A heck of a lot. The gun of yesterday is now replaced by IT and social media of today. You want things to happen, you've got to use those tools in all the international arenas you can possibly think of. I've been using these things and I've been achieving a great deal. How is it that I got to Downing Street? Through social media, through IT, through those things. How is it that I'm having meetings with the Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office in the United Kingdom? Through those things. How is it that I've met over 26 governments in Africa? Through those things. I'm saying that is modern technology coming to the fore. We must not look at our situation as if we're still in 1952. We have to come up to the plate. And if I want to bring it home to you, right now, this very second, Zimbabwe has only got enough diesel and petrol reserves for 2 days, maximum. Maximum, 2 days. What if I were to begin my campaign to all those countries in our region to say, can we talk? Can we have a conversation? Can you just switch off the pipe for a little bit? You are now powerful than the most biggest gun anyone can get. Because 2 days will pass in a blink of an eye, and you'll have the big guys in Harare saying, what's happening? What's happening? And more importantly, they will not be able to do anything about it. They will not be able to stop me or you or the international arena or whoever it is bringing on that conversation to say, we have stopped those fuel supplies because we would like to talk. We would like to have an earnest talk. We need electoral reforms. We need this, we need that. So we've got a whole arena of things we can utilize today in order for us to bring our conversation to the table. But once again, I must say that currently, that oomph, that quest, that a certainty to say, let us do something, especially from the youth, hasn't come up. It's not rising to the top. And it is only when it rises to the top that you'll see change. Go and ask HH in Zambia how you got there. He'll tell you the youth.
The youth put him there, yeah.
Yeah, the youth put me here. He will not even question 2 months, and he'll talk to you for the next 2 hours, telling you how the youth. It was because of the youth. So here we're talking with facts, with evidence. Of course, Mtunzi, I do realize that there's apathy. People are tired, lethargic. People are too busy looking for the next meal, looking how to survive. I get that picture. I understand that picture. But if you really want to change your whole circumstance, change your whole situation, you've got to take a back step and say, what is Ndiweni saying about this? He's saying that we've got to put down everything and just go forward for this. I'm saying it because I'm talking to the top table. I'm talking to the top table on all continents. And all top tables are saying, Chief, if the Zimbabweans don't stand up, we will not stand up. How can we stand up if they do not stand up? If they are comfortable, if they are comfortable in their circumstance and they don't wish to stand up, we too are comfortable in the status quo in Zimbabwe. It is only when we see them standing up that we will stand up and assist them. But so long as they want to go to Nando's, they want to have Mackie D's, they want to be chilling out, they want to be having nice clothes, they want to be going to parties, hey, you know what? We'll do the same thing.
Now, do you know what Zimbabweans want right now?
Yeah.
Is Zimbabweans want to finish the Red Course course and come to England.
Yes.
So it's it's the mindset. So with that mindset, it's it comes across as if they would rather escape than deal with the situation.
Yes, that mindset is there.
So I think the what we need to sort of put onto the youth wherever is to put the idea that it all starts in the head.
Yes. It all starts there. It all starts there in the air. It all starts there in the head and the whole thing. But the picture I'm trying to get over is that if you have a youth that is standing up, you don't need millions and millions and millions and millions. You need just a focus group of youth individuals who are punching above their weight. They will achieve what is necessary to achieve. If you read all the history books that you'd like to read, in every one of those stories, it hasn't been a mass of people who've affected change. It's always just a certain number.
Yes.
Just a certain number. And that is what I'm crying out for. That is what I'm going for. I'm saying we need to get that critical mass. That's what they call when you're talking about science and nuclear weapons and everything. There's a critical mass that you've got to get before the thing engages gear. That's what I'm after. I'm perfectly fully aware that yes, people will want to come over here, do certain things. They've got to live. And I would encourage them to do so. They have to live. But on the other hand, I'm saying we also need that big mindset change from a critical mass of individuals who can get us to the top table so things can begin to get changed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, in how can I put it? Let's talk about leadership, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you are being exposed to all these leaders. You are a leader yourself,
Yes.
and let's talk about leadership and corruption.
Yeah. Leadership and corruption, that's a vital thing. Very, very important thing.
Mm.
I know in the academic world, you always have this discussion of whether someone is born a leader or whether someone can be made a leader. That's up for the discussions. It's there. And I'm sure students of that area can give you a full lesson on it. For me, what I'm saying is that leadership is coming from the heart, i.e., you have it within you. It is something which is like a sixth sense in you for that leadership thing. And the leadership I'm talking about is a leadership whereby your whole body, your whole essence, your whole everything is embodied in that leadership. The idea of you being bought off really doesn't come into it. It's such a small thing, you don't even spend 2 times about it. The idea of corruption and that kind of thing doesn't come into it because your whole body is about that leadership thing. If I give you a simple example, that time when I was in Bulawayo and I came out of Tregold Magistrate Court and I saw the ruling party members around my car and starting to attack me around that car. And they seemed to value that car, that 4x4 twin cab. They had great value for it. They'd come for it all that way from Harare, from the president's office to get that. So to them, it was vitally important, really the center of everything. For me, that didn't matter one bit. That is why you saw me carrying 20 liters of diesel and I poured it over it. And yes, and I wanted to burn it. I wanted to burn it to the ground. The man who stopped me doing that was my headman. He refused to give me the matches because I know he smokes. And I was saying, Guni, give me the matches. Let me burn this thing to the ground. That was an intent and a purpose to show them that to Chief Ndiweni, that twin cab 4x4 is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I'm here for the bigger picture, the common people, to be doing those kind of things. Now, the problem that we have in Zim at the moment is that we have individuals who are not leaders, individuals who are there for the take, individuals who really do not seem to get satisfied with whether they take $1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 2 million, going right upwards there. And I dare say there are some who have already taken billions and billions from us. That is basic corruption. I'm not mincing my words. I'm telling you as it is.
Yes.
We are all grown up. We're adults. We have seen it all. Let's stop whispering around the corners about this and that and that. Our government in Zimbabwe today is stealing from us every second of the day.
Is taking money
from us. Yeah, it's taking money from us every second of the day. And that evidence I can produce to you that even in 2017, ministers were photographed with suitcases full of money going in the millions. These suitcases hidden in the loft, hidden in the basement, hidden behind the sink in the kitchen. This is basic. This is basic. So I'm not talking wishful thinking or something like that. I'm talking factual. To say our country, me and you are being ripped off on a daily basis. And for me, when it comes to this particular subject that I'm passionate about, I am saying here, Mtunzi, that any new government, any new properly chosen government, elected government that comes into Zim, its first port of call is that it must work and open a new department working closely with Interpol, working closely with international organizations, because that is the quickest way we can get our money back. There are mansions in LA, in Brisbane, in London, in wherever it is. Some have got yachts and all sorts, some private aeroplanes, all sorts. So if we get that department up and running quickly, freeze all those assets, get a hold of all those assets, that is the quickest way we can begin to actually plow back into our local community. Because these folks in government currently in Zimbabwe are ripping us off on a daily basis. And we should not entertain that. Really, we should not entertain that. That's why even when it comes to corruption, I totally believe and totally agree with what HH in Zambia was saying. He was saying that maybe the time has come for public office officials to have lifestyle audits. Lifestyle audit says, Mtunzi, you're driving a Beamer. Your salary doesn't come near that Beamer.
Yeah.
How did you get it? So you're going to have people following you all over the place, Mtunzi, to say, sell the rose suit. Yeah. How did you get it?
How did you get
your
it?
Salary doesn't come close to that. And while we're at it, Mtunzi, your kids, private school. How did you get it? While we're at it, Mtunzi, private healthcare in London, UK. How did you get it? How? So there we are putting the pressure on to say, let us have a change of mindset, a change of everything, so that at least we can begin to get on the right road of where we need to go with it. At the moment, in Zim, what we have is a catch and release.
Catch and release.
Catch and release. Where someone is caught stealing. And cannot hide the fact that they're stealing. ZRP catches them. And before the sun goes down, he's been released. He's been released. Chief Ndiweni chews on the left side of his mouth and is arrested. It doesn't get bail for the next 6 months.
But do you know what? I had a conversation with someone, and you highlighted something to me, which I thought, do you know what? Maybe not. Because they said to me, sometimes corruption is fueled by people from diaspora. Because you guys come here, and having come here, you want to do your passport quick, and you want to do whatever quick. And then you sort of, the money under the table, and then things are done. But the general person cannot afford to do that. So you guys from the outside are the ones that fuel these things for them to be continuously ready for you people to bring up the money under the table. And then the other side of the conversation was saying, listen, we are there for 2 weeks. We cannot really be waiting for 2 days. If we can do what we can do and put money under the table, so be it. So what is your take on that?
No, Mtunzi, no. I'm rejecting that analysis. I'm rejecting that analysis. No, I'm chucking that analysis in the bin, in the dustbin. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that our government has been institutionally corrupt. That is why it has cultivated a culture within all departments of corruption. If there was a way of fast-tracking your passport, the government should be upfront with that, should put it there upfront, do everything upfront, so that even when Mtunzi pulls out 500 quid, 500 pounds to get his passport in 1 day, it is there for everyone to see in black and white, to say he used the government's fast-track system and his money has gone into the Department of Immigration and whatever that they do the passports in. So I don't accept the idea that corruption has been funded by the diaspora. The diaspora are merely having to go into a system which they find whereby for them, they're trying to get their documents and someone puts a block in front of them. And they're only there for 2 weeks. And when put in that block, they say, oh, by the way, if you give me something under the table, I'll do it quickly. So it's not their fault. They are being put on the rails for that. Yeah.
That's a fair point to say, because you cannot find if like the same conversation that we have on, say, South Africa. They say, oh yeah, there's all the crime, and then the crime is caused by the people from outside. If there was no crime, why would I come there and get comfortable and start something that is not there?
Yes. It's just like one of those things to say, no. There has to be a culture, particularly a culture of corruption or crime in an area, for that crime to continually come up and up and bring itself to the forefront. There's no ways. I mean, myself here, I would get on a plane and then go to Moscow and try and do low-level crime over there. Those guys will stomp on me from a great height.
Because it's not allowed there.
It's not allowed. They'll kick me in the broad daylight on the high street and put me in and chuck me in the back of the van. So you can only survive where it's been a climate, where there's a climate for that to want to survive and do it. So I think one of the other things we've got to be careful of is we've got to be careful about tarring the diaspora with the ailments that are in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
The diaspora is the diaspora. The diaspora exists only because they had to leave Zim in order to make a living outside.
Yes.
So they did not do it by choice. Circumstance pushed them out and pushed them to the diaspora. And they didn't leave it there. The diaspora today pumping $1.4 billion US per year in remittances. So they haven't forgotten their kith and kin, their family, their friends. No, they're giving out a helping hand. I've lost count of how many clinics have been built by the diaspora. Lost count of how many school kids are going to school fees paid by the diaspora. There is so much they're doing. But for the diaspora, they're only crying for one thing, the vote. That is all the diaspora are crying for, just that vote. Because as the French said, there's no taxation without representation. At the moment, the diaspora is paying tax to the Zimbabwean government through its remittances that go to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. So we must be careful with how we deal with the diaspora. It is a way out for us.
Yeah, but then do you not see, like, saying along those lines, I was just looking at it from a perspective where you see how because you didn't go to war, now we are now here, and how everything happened, say, in point of independence. The idea was because we've gone to war to get liberation, this is the liberation we're going to give to you, and then we're going to be leading. Now, do you think there's a way that I sort of think that the attitude to the people back home have this sort of mindset where we went through the hardship, and then you guys are coming from wherever you're coming from, and now that everything is done, and you want to put yourself in position, in as much as you may claim that you learn one or two things from outside, but wait, because we went through the trenches.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you. Let me answer it in this way, and I'll answer it in an upfront way, in a straight way. Really, where maybe some people may take offense. I don't know. Let them hear and understand where I'm coming from. Those that fought in the liberation war in Zimbabwe, they fought in their time. They chose to fight because they chose to fight. They went out there because that is what they wanted to do that. So they had a choice in that.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that. And when they came back from the bush, after doing that fight and having brought the country, the knowledge and qualifications and experiences that they had disqualified them from government. Their job description stopped in the bush. They were not equipped for government. To fight in the bush and for government is a different thing entirely. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
It does not come together. It's different totally.
Mm.
And I think in my way of thinking, that is why I can substantiate my statement by saying, look at the mess we have now in Zim. 43 years of continuous recession. We have never come out of recession. We've always been in recession. The world goes in, comes out, we are in. The world goes in, comes out, we are still in, going deeper and deeper. So I'm saying that for those who fought in the bush, your qualifications are not enough to run a country. You need to step aside and allow another generation to take the baton and to do that. If I were to follow that analogy of saying, okay, they went to war, they fought because of situations that were there during Rhodesia. They wanted to liberate the country and remove those things that were there during Rhodesia so that people can breathe. If the situation was different in SADC, do they realize that there could now be a new generation of young Zimbabweans going to the bush to pick up the AK because their situation is not right in 2022? It is only just that the SADC countries now do not accept the idea of fighting or of war or that kind of thing that is stopping the current generation of youth doing that. But if there was one country in SADC that allowed that, I would put my last dollar on the table to say you would see the youth going there, getting trained, picking up the gun, to say we want to start a new war of liberation to change, because we can't breathe in current modern daysism. So I'm answering it in a big way so that folks can listen and can say, well, hey, Chief Ndiweni is talking rubbish or is talking okay, or where is he coming from? But the discussion is big, it's broad. I'm just simply saying that those who fought in the liberation, they must, with grace, withdraw from the handles of power. With grace.
With grace.
Yeah. Withdraw and allow a new generation to come through. Yeah.
I suppose. And, there was another discussion that I wanted to touch on with you. The idea that the Roman law, is designed, what was designed for the Roman to apply to an African, the law that is.
Yes. Mtunzi, we've been let down. And I think this is a classic example, which actually supports what I was just saying just now.
Yes.
That maybe the guys who were in the bush did not qualify to govern. This is a classic example. Roman Dutch law is Roman Dutch law. It applies internationally in different places, but when you go to other parts of the world, like the Muslim world, you come across Sharia law, you come across different Arabian law systems, different structures. All those countries in different areas have had the courage to remove Roman Dutch law and bring in their indigenous laws so that they can live in the way that they can do things on that. We in Zim have been copycats. We've been like a photocopying machine. Any Roman Dutch law comes along, we just slap it on the photocopy machine. It's now Zimbabwean law. It's now Zimbabwean law. It does not work. It has set us back a huge, huge way. I'll give you a simple example. If you go to the High Court and you go to the Master's office in the High Court in Bulawayo, That's the department that looks after inheritance and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that department, they are still doing Roman Dutch law. The way your family Mtunzi will deal with the issue of inheritance is according to Roman Dutch law. It is not according to your culture. It's not according to your way of doing things. Even if it goes to the extent of saying, we will go in to Mtunzi's cattle kraal and we will deal with those cattle in our Roman Dutch way. Forget Mtunzi. Forget Mtunzi that Mtunzi has got one oxen there, oxen called lengisi, that shouldn't be touched. They say stuff lengisi. They're taking lengisi to the other side. Yeah, we're doing that with lengisi. And there's Mtunzi crying on the ground, screaming and crying. And there they are taking lengisi out of the kraal. So that's nonsense. That's totally nonsense. That should not be there. When you look at my culture, where I'm coming from, we've got a word for inheritance.
Yes.
Ilifa.
Yes.
Ilifa. Now, Ilifa has got to be dealt with in a particular way. It's sorted out in a different way, Ilifa, which is in direct contradiction to the Roman Dutch law in that particular way. So, yes, we need to change all of that. And we need to be bold enough to change it. Because if we don't change it, that is when you see the breakdown of a society, the breakdown of a culture, the breakdown of traditions, customs, practices, and norms. And when you have that breakdown, that individual that comes from that society has got no moral compass, has got no proper direction, does not really know themselves thoroughly because the baselines have all been removed. The individual is growing up in Cholocho, but you want to treat them as if they live in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Well, I suppose we can then also highlight the idea that sometimes media can psychologically have an effect on the youth. And you having mentioned that the youth are the best people to take over, has information been passed on from generation of the previous generations to the youth on how you should carry yourself? Some of the things that because there's nothing on paper, so it's mostly oral tradition, and sometimes that is sort of given to us from one's own perspective.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right, you're right. There is that new format, shall we say, which should be utilized in that way. But the opportunities have not actually come up for that to be brought into the forefront, for that system to happen. I'll give you a simple example. Last week, I came back to the UK. I was coming from the coronation of the new Zulu king, Mrs. Zulu Azwelithini, in Durban, Tegwini, over there. But before I left SA, I got into a small little room there in the airport that they gave me, and I did a Zoom meeting. And the Zoom meeting was with my village elders. So you're looking at elders all above 70 years of age, tapping into Wi-Fi, tapping into the laptop, tapping into phones, having them Zulus there, helping them, holding their hands. And I was engaging them. It was a formal meeting with them under the Traditional Leaders Act, whereby we were discussing issues about Intaba Zinduna and how to do things and the whole thing on Zoom.
On Zoom, yes.
On Zoom. That around doing things like that. So IT can play a part, and I'll be encouraging that it should play a part in actually bringing in and cascading those things that we need to bring in. The only difficulty that we currently have there in Zim is the closing down of the democratic space. It has been relentless. It has been huge. So it doesn't afford a great deal of opportunity for that kind of thing that we're talking about now to come on air, purely because I think the government of the day is rather worried or concerned that people may be talking revolution, revolution, yes. They could be talking revolution.
Yes.
So they're clamping down on the space, which makes it difficult. But if things were to change in the government and we got a new government and the likes, yes, I will be going full throttle in linking social media with the traditional institutions, culture, and all those things, so that the youth of today are well equipped, because culture and tradition is not static. It evolves.
Yes.
It moves every day.
Yeah,
as a traditional leader, as in Duna, I have to be aware of that I cannot treat him Tunzi in this way. He's a young man of this age, of this time, and I need to be in link with that, so that he finds value in this tradition I'm bringing to him. If I'm viewing it in an ancient way,
yes,
Tunzi will walk away from it.
Exactly.
Because it has no meaning to it. Yeah, that way around. So yes, no, I agree with what you're saying. That that communication needs to be done to be brought over to it. Yeah, I do agree to that.
Yeah, because in essence, what I've found is that even kids that are born here or kids that have come here from an early age, what happens is then they meet when they become workers, because we have people coming from abroad coming to work. We have so much workforce coming from abroad. So what happens is that at your workplace, you find people that are coming from your say background, say come from Zim. And of course, I've been here for a while, and and then the conversation is, my name is Andrew. It's like, okay, because of your accent, we can tell that you're not from here. And then it's like, okay, what's your surname? And then you say, no, I'm Tunzi. And it's like, okay. And then we try to establish either from South Africa or Zimbabwe or whatever. And then you bring that to the table. And then it's like, so why are you acting as if you have lost your identity? So you are then cornered into thinking, do you know what? Let me find out my identity is, because my next job, I'm going to find someone who's in a similar position, who's going to ask me the same questions. I need to be able to respond.
Yes.
You see? So I at the end of it all, identity is takes you back to where you come from. And
no, I agree with you. It takes you back from where you come from, your identity. But your identity is your building blocks. That's your foundation as a person, as an individual. Someone, I said it earlier on, I'll repeat it. Someone who's not sure or does not have clarity about their identity and who they are is an individual that is lacking a moral compass. Because that means with that person, anything goes.
Anything, yes.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping that individual. Anything goes, because they've got nothing within themselves that draws a line in the sand to say, no, I can't do this, or yes, I can do a thing like that. There's nothing like that at all. So that we're doing anything goes. And that's what even I was reading an article from one of the armies here, I think it was the UK army, whereby they were saying an individual like that is a dangerous somebody, because at a click of a finger, they can do anything. They're totally unpredictable, nothing like that at all there. For me, I'll be saying you need to be going with your roots wherever you are. Take a simple example. There, we saw at number 11 Downing Street, when Rishi Sunak was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, when it came to his culture, his Hindu culture, Festival of the Light, Diwali, he came out, he was walking barefoot, he went with a candle and a light, and he put it at the door, at the side of his door, and he did certain things there. He was showing us his identity in the full glare of the global cameras of who Rishi Sunak is. he was bold enough to do that. For us, especially us Africans, we need to have that boldness within us. It is not a negative thing. It is a plus thing when you do that thing. I went to Newcastle on Saturday, whereby it was an inauguration of a new councillor that's been chosen in Newcastle upon time, Josephine Siziba, and she had asked for a traditional ceremony. And so I went there in my full attire to show them that traditional ceremony. And at the end of the day, we had a nice picture whereby I was standing right next to an elderly Scottish gentleman who was wearing a kilt. And I was saying, let's compare your kilt and my bedsheet. They were nearly the same, but they come from 6,000 miles apart.
Yeah.
It was me being able to have that confidence to say, here I am. I'm an individual that comes from a particular area, a particular space, other side of the world. But if you give me a laptop, I can program that laptop for you.
Yes.
Having an identity doesn't mean that you're backward.
Yes, of course.
Having that identity means that you've got that confidence. So it's about building the confidence. But that confidence can only be brought in, especially in the diaspora, is if we begin that engagement you're talking about just now, that engagement of empowering the people with knowledge.
Yes.
To say your culture is X, Y, Z, to do all those things. So we have some way to go. And I know I was speaking to some group of guys whereby we're in the process of trying to bring in some summer schools back in Zim, which are going to be focused purely on that, the identity, people's identity, so that even if you have kids here and you haven't got the time or the means to bring them into that arena, put them on a plane, they'll come to our school, they'll come to our boarding school the whole summer long time, 2 months long, whatever it is you want, and they'll have some identity of themselves by the time they leave that place.
That's an interesting move there. So basically, I'm trying to understand this. So it's a sort of boarding school where anybody from any part of the world who identifies with the culture or who is of that identity will come and learn of the things, that the traditions and the all the other things.
That's the whole idea, to say that we fully understand. Folks are working in the UK in the National Health Service or legal service or the teaching profession. They are busy. It's in the UK. It's not like in Zim, totally removed. We understand that that's the modern way of life. But to assist them to some degree, to say, well, okay, we will help you with your children, push them over, and it sometimes could be even adults, but bring them over to our place, whereby we can put them through the mill of part of their identity, who they are, what they do, all those kind of like things. So we're midway of trying to do that, so that at least we can assist them. And you know, when someone is sure of themselves, that is when even here in the West, they'll perform at a high standard.
This is one time. Okay, well, we had a bit of alcohol, so what happened was we were a group of guys, and something that I caught on very well. It's along these lines, and someone was lied to, and then having been lied to, the conversation was, and then even ultimately we, at the end of it, we discovered that it was all a lie. But then the thing was, which I caught on very well, was with confidence, you can lie to anyone or you can move anything. So I mean, if we can if we can be confident with ourselves, then we can be able to move things. We can be able to challenge things, because sometimes a lot of people, the better person, if me and you have an answer, and I raise my hand with confidence, the other person who doesn't raise their hand because of not being confident, I think I'm better than that person for having raised my hand, even if
Yes.
we have the same response.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So confidence ultimately can move things.
Yes, very, very much so.
Mm.
Confidence can move things. Confidence can get you into different places. The example I like to use is this young lady I came across at Frankfurt Airport a number of years ago. I later found out she was about 24, 25 years of age. But when I saw her there at the airport, she was wearing the airport uniform. On her badge, on her lapel, was her name, Madube, from Zim, the whole place. And under the name was a human rights manager, human resources manager, written underneath the whole place there. And so I stopped and I talked to her, and she had graduated some years ago early from uni, done a master's, done everything. But she was now so confident that she could have thousands of employees in Frankfurt underneath her. And she was in charge of them. And she was bold enough as being Madube. You could see the way that she was carrying herself. She was full of her identity, no two ways about it. Because even when she saw me there, she instinctively recognized me, talked in Ndebele straight to me, the whole works, even though she was going with a whole crowd of other human resources managers with her. But within that arena, she had that boldness to speak Ndebele straight to me, which signified that she had not hidden her identity. She was not shy of her identity. She had exposed her colleague to her identity. So that is why she could perform to that high level. It is when someone comes in to a work environment, even though their name is, for argument's sake, Shatwai, and when they look at the name and they can't pronounce it, he'll shortify it to say some shortened version. And from that shortened version, Shatwai will never actually tell his colleagues about his background and everything. Will never actually tell his colleagues about the cuisine, the foods that the Shatwais eat. Will never tell his colleagues about the traditional sense, traditional clothing that the Shatwais have. No, he'll always be opaque, sort of like opaque. And if you ask the work colleagues, they'll say, we don't really quite know him. But is with us. That individual who's like that, I guarantee you 1,000,000% will not progress.
There you go.
Will not progress, will never get to the big office in that organization because they're not sure of who themselves are.
Yes. And it's crazy like that. And then but I wanted to also highlight on the idea that in as much as we see all these negative things about where we come from and that there are good things that we also have. And from your own perspective, what are those good things? And if somebody was interested in, say, invest in Zimbabwe, what would be ideal? Because, it's saying that yesterday, I had a friend of mine who's from here, and he sent me a YouTube saying, houses are $88,000. Like, I think I need to go to your country. I was like, you want to go to my country?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
What are the good things that you can talk about, say, Zimbabwe, Africa as a whole?
Really, I mean, for me, what I'll be saying, fair enough, we've got to be very open and frank to say, at the moment in Zim, in Africa, our rule of law leaves a lot to be desired. So we're starting from that situation whereby we're saying our rule of law is a bit iffy. And with an iffy rule of law, it cuts across all industries, cuts across everything you can possibly think of. Because now what it's saying to you is that if you want to continue along that road of trying to invest, you've got to be someone who's pretty agile, pretty sharp, pretty quick, someone who thinks outside the box, because you are now entering frontier territory. You're entering the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
That's where you're going. And even in the wild, wild west, investments did occur. There were investments. Those individuals that invested during the wild, wild west are now household names. They're billionaires and all that kind of thing. So investment can occur, but it needs for that person to be really savvy, very sharp in how they think. And more importantly, I would say, number one, that person needs to, first and foremost, before investing, they need to get to grips with what is happening in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before they dip their toes in, they really need to do their research and especially understand the legalities that are there in that country so that their investment is protected.
Yes.
And in that particular arena, my second bit of advice to them would be, number two, get some good lawyers around you.
Yeah.
Get some good lawyers around you. Some good lawyers who will have easy access to local police, who can easily protect and look after your investment, so that whatever you're putting your money into is not taken from you.
From you,
in
yes,
that particular way. With that said, then the number three on my list would be, you need to hook up with individuals in the banking sector in Zim. That's around.
What's the reason?
The reason there, purely because you're looking at the movement of money, you're looking at cash flow, you're looking at your investment, you're looking at all of those monetary terms, whereby the bank has a hand in that. So basically, what we're trying to do is that when the individual says, I would like to invest in Zim, we are saying, number one, understand the country, understand the rule of law. Number two, get yourself some legal teams around you. Number three, get yourself some people from the banking sector, banking services, all that kind of thing around you. So that we are building something, a net around you before you go in to do your investment. So that when high noon comes and the local gunslinger comes out at you with a 6-shooter, you're well looked after. You're defended. Things are good. You're going well at that. So it's about preparing you for that in that way around.
How about if just simple round it up, say get a ZANU man?
Getting a ZANU man, Mtunzi, is going to help you just now only. It's short term.
Yeah.
That man probably didn't go past standard 7. It's short term. So here we're talking wild, wild west. And the problem with doing that is that getting a ZANU man, you'll be forever looking over your shoulders.
Yeah.
Because time is ticking. Time is ticking. And the thing that I always say to people is that whatever you're doing today, because of that card, that ZANU PF card, you need to make sure that you can answer questions tomorrow, because tomorrow is coming very fast. There'll be many people who will be left just wearing their boxer shorts, nothing else. They'll be wearing their boxer shorts in the middle of the high street because of this card. And they're the lucky ones. The other unlucky ones will be in Kami prison, where I was. I was in cell number 12. They'll be in cell number 9, which was the hard cell. Yeah, that's hard. So I would say, no, just getting the ZANU card or the ZANU man is a dicey game. Very, very dicey. You are actually creating a skeleton in your cupboard. You are creating a skeleton in your cupboard. I would rather you go around a different route whereby you don't have that skeleton in your cupboard, so that you don't have to answer difficult questions in 2023 or 2024 or whenever that change comes. But what is certain is that change is coming. And for those individuals that have used that roadmap of getting a ZANU card or a ZANU person, they're just giving themselves headaches. It's a headache thing.
Yeah, I guess that's the situation. Yeah. Thank you for coming out. It's been a lovely 1 hour. Anything that you
Wow.
would want
Wow.
to hit us before you leave? Give
Yeah.
us some
Hey,
wise
Suze, this
words
1
from the
hour has
chief.
gone by too quickly. It's gone by
I know.
too quickly, guy. My my parting shot
Yeah.
is that good people, folks.
Mm.
Every generation has a calling. There's never been a generation without a calling.
Yes.
When we look at Zim,
Mm.
the calling for today is the diaspora, especially the diaspora vote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm spearheading the diaspora vote. We are taking on registrations. They're coming in through thick and fast through our website, My Rights to Vote, the number two to vote. You just register there. In 2023, we will be doing a diaspora election. The reason for doing that, it is independent. It has nothing to do with ZEC, nothing to do with the Zim government. But it is the thing that is going to change Zim. I don't have the time or the length of time right now in this slot to go into the great detail about it. But good people, trust me on this. This is the thing that will change Zim. 100%. It looks small. Someone may laugh at it. Someone may say, oh, I don't think it can do. But good things always come in small packages. Dynamite comes in small packages. This is the one. So I would encourage Zim Diaspora, register. Register, and you can register either to try and prove Chief Ndiweni wrong or to try and prove Chief Ndiweni right. But either way, register. And let's see how it happens next year.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming through. It's been a lovely conversation, a good 1 hour. If I had the option, I would have you for even more, for even more time, because it's always a good time. I mean, bear in mind, it's not the first time we've actually had a conversation, so that's why it's been nice and smooth. But ultimately, we are hoping that you've heard. It doesn't start here; it's already started. So if you want, which country you're from, we need to make changes to the supposedly third world developing countries. This is we people in the diaspora, be it Zimbabwe, be it wherever, you need to be able to vote.
Yes.
Make changes because we are the same people that send money to the people back home. And we need to be able to be confident and gain our identity as the people from there, because without confidence, nothing will move. Thank you, Chief, for coming through. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Brilliant. Great news. Great show. Thanks very much.
Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.